Kia ora and welcome. My name is Sarah. I'm a women's sexuality coach, and today I'm going to be talking about investing in yourself. This can be quite a taboo topic in terms of talking about money. So, I want to break this down, look at perhaps where some of this conditioning has come from, and how you might want to move through this and towards more of what you really want. So, first of all, I'm celebrating the fact that I can go live since I have been banned for a little while on Facebook because of my edgy content. So, celebrating that and also celebrating that I just finished 20 free discovery calls for one on one coaching. And so, I had a really great insight and look into what were the objections coming up for people when they really did want coaching, but things were getting in the way. And a big one around this was money. So I wanted to speak to it. And also because I experienced this myself, I also invest in a coach and I invest in online courses. And I too experience some resistance that I need to work through in terms of moving forward. So the first thing I just want to acknowledge is that there are societal inequalities and people do have different access to money. So I'm going to be speaking very generally and very broad here because I don't understand your personal situation. And I know for myself, I just want to acknowledge that I'm also doing some internal work and some work behind the scenes to understand and work through how I can start to, uh, yeah, um, how I can start to minimize some of those inequalities in our society. So I'm taking some responsibility for that. So the first thing you want to start to understand is this investment something that you really want and why? Okay, because when you really decide that there's something that you really, really want, then chances are you're probably going to find a way to get that. So if you really want to go on vacation somewhere, then you're probably going to save up some money. Okay, it might not be that you are able to go on vacation tomorrow, but you're going to save up some money and eventually you'll be able to get there. In terms of investing, you also want to understand what you're investing in and do you trust that you are going to get the return on your investment. So in establishing all of this, you want to understand if you have trust in the person that you're looking to invest with. So in this case, it would be, okay, do you trust me that I'm going to be able to hold the space for you to get the results that you deeply desire? So that's the first thing. And jumping on a call with me is a good way to start to get a feel into whether that's true for you or not. The second thing is how important is your deepest desires and longings. So, when I'm talking with these women on the discovery calls, they are talking about very important, life changing, deep value set things. So, we're talking about more intimacy with their partner, more self love, more connection with themselves. We're talking about freedom, like freedom in their full expression. We're talking about self confidence and that deep self love. So, these may seem like kind of maybe theoretical things, but if we break them down, they start to show up in very direct action. Like you start to notice that you are walking stronger, you feel more powerful, and then perhaps people start to notice you more and you start to speak up more, and then you start to have more respect around you in your workplace or in your business, and that might mean that you're finding more clients, or maybe you start to feel confident enough to ask for a pay rise, right? Or maybe it's you and your partner are now being more intimate more often, you're fighting less, the family is more harmonious. Um, Maybe it's that you've got dreams of what you would really do if you trusted yourself enough. So when I've talked to these women in these calls, they've said, yeah, like what you're talking about here and the results that I'm desiring are it would be life changing, right? I ask them, what is it worth to them? They say, it would be life changing. Um, it's worth everything. This is like something that I deeply, deeply want. Okay, so step one is identify really what is it? What are the results that we're talking about here? What is that worth to you? And do you trust the person that you are potentially going to invest in? If that is all set in place, then we start to get into, okay, well, what are the objections? Because naturally, there are going to be some things that start to get in the way or things you need to process. And that could be time, it could be commitment, it could be money, right? And money is generally one that comes up quite a lot. And I just want to give you an example. Like last year, I invested $6,500 on a business course for 4 months in a group program. And so it wasn't even one on one. I was one of, I think, 6 women in this program. And when I first saw that, I was just like, almost had a heart attack. I was like, whoa, I could not potentially like invest that much in myself. Like that would be absolutely crazy. But then I thought about the results and like, I really want my business to grow. I really want this to be something I enjoy and I really want to reach all these women and help them. That is something that's non-negotiable for me on my deathbed. If I look back, I want to feel like I've made a contribution in this world. So, yeah, there can be a process. All right. So, it's also really important to understand what comes up for you specifically because that can be a pattern that's not only in the decision making process of deciding if you want to coach or not, or if you want to invest money in yourself, but it can also be a reflection of some of these conditioned patterns that are in your wider everyday life. So, for example, I had a woman who was like, you know, like she has a tendency to go, oh, I mean, it sounds awesome. Like, I really want those results in my life. Like, that is actually like life changing. But like, it's probably something that I can do in like 6 months, right? Like, it's something that can happen in the future. And the reality was, once we broke it apart, was that this pattern of putting something off into the future was the very reason that she was in the call, right? In terms of putting something off is not doing your personal growth work or not looking at what's going on in your relationship. And if you put that off before you know 20, 30, 40 years has gone by, because in 6 months, time is always in 6 months' time, right? If the immediate response is, I can't afford that, like that can be true to a certain point. And I also want to invite you into this question of how much do you trust your capacity to get what you want? Okay, how much do you trust your capacity to get what you want? Because if you really, really want something, you will find a way. And it might not be that you can get that thing right away, right? It might be that you have to save up for it. So you might not be in control of when or how, but at some point, if you are committed to something, then you will make it happen if you trust your ability and you trust your capabilities. So one woman was like, actually, I don't actually trust myself very much in order to get what I want. And it's like, cool, that's the very reason you're on this call. That's the very reason that you haven't got the results that you want in your life in terms of connection and intimacy and confidence, because you have been getting in your own way, right? That block of not trusting yourself is the same block as what will get in the way of entering into a coaching situation and opportunity that can help you work through that. So, in terms of investing in yourself, I always say if it feels like a stretch, then that's a really good thing because it means that you're going to want to get the most out of your investment. And with my clients, I absolutely want them to get the most out of their investment. Like the more committed they are, actually, the easier it is for me and the better our results can be. So there needs to be some level of stretch or commitment in here to like really go into this process. This is a 6 month container, it's thousands of dollars. So you want to know that you're going to get the absolute most out of it. And part of this is trusting me, but also trusting yourself that you are going to be a great client. And I coach my clients through this as well, but that means things like really turning up on time and being really invested and telling me when things aren't working or when things are working and keeping that communication open. So there's definitely things that you can do to trust yourself, right? To make the time and the space to really, really, really make this worth it. And then just some further reasons of why you might want to open up this field of possibility, right? And investing in yourself is that you could have money in the bank, right? You could have money in investments, and my question to you is like, how is that money serving you right now? So it could probably be bringing you security and safety, but it's coming at a cost to connection, aliveness, intimacy, happiness, fulfillment. So there's not much point having money in the bank and feeling secure if you're not actually happy in life. Personally, I would rather invest that money than die or be on my deathbed and go, oh, cool, I've ended up with all this money, but like I didn't actually invest in the things that were really worth it. If you're still sitting here thinking like, okay, cool, but I like don't have the money, like how, like, so there's so many different ways that clients have come up and been creative in how they could find the money. So, and for myself as well, like sometimes I think, okay, cool, I want to invest in this thing. I want it for me. How do I need to make more money right now? Okay, maybe I need to sign another client or I need to launch a new program. Um, when I still had a salary job, I actually, after doing all this work on myself, at the same time that I invested that $6,500 right in the middle of that program, I decided to go for a pay review and stand my ground on what I was worth. And I asked them for way more than what previously I thought that I could ask for. And I got it. So that gave me a $30 an hour pay rise. So I'm not saying that at the end of this coaching you're going to end up making more money, but I am saying that the more aligned you are, the more confident you are, the more that you see your worth, and investing in yourself is one way to do that, the better chance and more opportunities that are going to open up for you to start to find access to more love, more intimacy, and more money. Um, and also, this is an investment that is going to pay off long, long into the future. So I ask my clients, like, okay, what is it that you really want? And we get really, really clear on that. And then I also say, okay, so what would happen if you didn't invest in yourself in this way? And so many of them are like, okay, well, I would maybe end up really sick and divorced. My health would really suffer. I'd be depressed. It's like, cool, these are very real things. Like, once like if you got to that stage, like what would you be willing to pay to not be in that place? And for me, in my personal experience, like I would pay like anything. I had chronic fatigue for a year. I was stuck in bed. If you'd said to me back then, like, okay, give me $50,000 or however much, like, and I'll make you not sick, it's like, totally. Like, I don't have $50,000, but I will work for the rest of my life to pay that off. Or probably back then, to be honest, it would have been like hundreds of thousands of dollars. So the thing is, like, identify what would happen if you didn't do this. Like, think about the pain and the suffering that can happen with separation, like, not just for you, but maybe for your family. And so, investing in yourself now is really important, especially if you are still in that place where you're like, cool, there's hope here, there's possibility. Like, this is the crucial time where you really, really want to try and do your best to make things work and get results and move forward in your life. Because if you don't, that could be like pain and suffering and cost you way more money in the long run. You know, one of my clients, you know, has this tendency to push through, and we could look at the history and patterns of her health and see how her energy has fluctuated. And we've been working with this, and now she doesn't do that. But, you know, with coronavirus, like if she had used and done the same patterns as what she had done in the past, it could have been that she could have ended up with long COVID or long term fatigue. And then imagine how that would have affected her life. So, yes, absolutely. Like, please honor yourself in terms of investing in yourself and the wisdom and the worth that can be held here. So I'll just leave you with a personal story because it's something I've been reflecting on this morning, and it was like it's such a stretch for me. But I just invested a couple of $1,000s in a business program recently, and then I really wanted like more intimate support, and so I started to look at the possibility of being in a mastermind, right? A small group coaching program. It's $28,000. I was like, when I first heard that, I was like, there is absolutely no way that I would ever spend $28,000 on myself or my business. And then actually over time, because I've been working through this process on my own in terms of witnessing clients in this, and how I can support them to make the best decisions for them in their life and allow them to not get in their own way. And so when I've been doing this internal work, then all of a sudden it started to shift, and I'm like, holy shit! Like in a week, now I'm starting to contemplate spending $28,000, and I'm like, okay, cool, but I know that I have the capacity to do that because I trust myself to turn up as the most amazing client and get the most out of this experience, and I trust the woman that I would be investing in. So unfortunately, this program is now closed because I took too long to decide, so I missed my opportunity. But now I'm also planning for next year and going, okay, cool, how can I budget and save up for $28,000 so that I can really get my business into the place that I really want it to be, right? Because otherwise, I'm just going to potentially stay a little bit stuck and not get there as quick as I want to. And I really want this. So here is a big sum up of what could happen, what could be possible for you if you trust your capacity to get what you want and to feel worthy enough to invest in yourself. Just got a comment here. Thank you for your wisdom. You definitely have and do make a wonderful positive change to your being here. I speak from experience. Yeah, totally. So just a past client here, and just sharing the wisdom of like how she invested in herself. Like, thank you so much. Yes. So, in summary, if it's not something that you want, right? Like if coaching with me is not something that you want, then don't do it. Right? Like it's not going to be a good match for either of us. If this is something that you want and you believe that you can get results and we can get results together, then there's a process that I invite you to work through. And that is, do you trust your capacity? How can you trust your capacity to get what you want? So shifting it from I can't afford it to how can I afford this? Where are the opportunities? Who do I need to ask? Do I need to ask my family? Do I maybe need to get a loan? Do I need to do any of these things? Because I'm so committed to my results, right? And then think what could be possible for you if you do this, what could be possible if you don't do this, and then just feel into what is truly important in your life. Yes, money's important, and yes, your basic needs are important, and what else is important, right? Usually your relationships and the connection to yourself and your health is essential, and that is what I work with, and that is why it is so valuable and so important. So I hope this was valuable. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're not already in the Facebook group, come join me, The Pleasure Filled Woman. And if you are interested in investing in yourself and coaching options, then get in touch with me and we can look at having a chat and potentially setting up a free call for you. Mwah.